great ambition also comes with having great responsibility. That's a nice message, I think. So I will introduce to you our next speaker, Dr. Nupur Kohli. She's a doctor and an author, and going to talk about this next topic: how does great ambition come with great responsibility? Yeah, there she is. Thank you so much. Welcome.
And there I was. I had won the FIFA 400 award. You can see on my face that I'm smiling, and I'm happy. I was also thinking, how on earth did this happen? I'm a medical doctor, passionate about making healthcare worldwide better and more efficient. I love seeing healthy people. And that day I won the award, I realized again how important my topic of stress and productivity is. Because we're all on this long road. And this road has ups and downs. We meet different people. On my own journey, I had a bit of an unusual career path. I graduated as a medical doctor. I then was a researcher. Then I decided to help healthcare through setting up startups. I had business education from Harvard Business School. I was a strategy consultant for healthcare. I wrote a book on stress and productivity, and I focus on preventive healthcare. All these are part of my career, just a few of them. And another part is that I'm passionate about bringing my knowledge to a wider audience through public speaking. So all these things we come across, all these different situations, these different problems, can feel scary, can give stress, can give a feeling of running away. So all this time, you were not able to see my face. And now you can see my face. And how does that feel? Like I've done just now, many people in their lives tend to turn their backs towards certain situations in their lives, towards certain problems. And I believe that we should not be afraid to face our challenges, to show people our real face. And that's also a great part of having a healthy ambition. There was also another moment in my life that made me realize how important optimizing stress is. I was a medical intern in a lung ward in a hospital, and together with my supervisor, we went to see an old man who had final stage lung cancer. We had decided to start a palliative treatment. We would stop all medication. And I stayed a bit behind with the man to observe him and see how he was doing. It was very silent. And I asked him the following question: "Are you afraid?" And the man told me this: "No, I'm not afraid of death, but I am afraid of what my children will think of me. I've always been working and away, very busy, always stressed. I got caught up in the cycle, and I haven't given my wife and children enough attention. My wife has died 2 years ago, and now I can't do anything for her. These last moments I want to spend with my children and grandchildren. That is the least I can do." So his children and grandchildren came. He was with them, and later that day he passed away. So Where are you in your career? Because the time is ticking, and often we do not take out enough time to also take care of our health. Often we only start noticing that we are too stressed when the symptoms occur, and then it might be too late. That is why it's so important that we are aware when things are too much for our own body. And then what is stress exactly? Stress is when the pressure is too much to handle. When you have a piece of string in your hands and you keep pulling it and pulling it and pulling it, and at some point it might break. I'm a doctor, so I like to explain what actually happens within a body. It usually starts with a trigger from outside, either physical, psychological, or environmental. It stimulates a part in the brain called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus then releases a hormone called CRH. CRH then triggers another part in the brain called the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland then releases another hormone called ACTH. ACTH stimulates the adrenal glands, those are close to the kidneys, and they release cortisol. Cortisol, also informally called the stress hormone. And that hormone gives all these symptoms that we relate to stress. Then, what are some of these symptoms? When we look at the brain and nerves, it can give headaches, but also anxiety and feelings of sadness. When looking at the heart, it can give a faster heartbeat or a rise in blood pressure. For the stomach, it can give nausea, especially in the mornings, and a feeling of eating too much or not having any appetite. On the longer term, it can give an increased risk in diabetes. For the intestines, diarrhea, constipation, pain, and not to forget the reproductive organs. It can have a big impact for both men and women on fertility, and more painful periods for women, and on other things like getting pimples or eczema. Because we love being busy. Being busy is good. We tend to romanticize stress. Especially millennials nowadays like to tell other people, we've worked so hard, and we did not eat, and we did not sleep, and we still managed to finish that project. Well, some stress is good, but not if it damages our body. Did you know that about 30% of our lives we are working? 30% we spend on work. And when we experience stress or pressure during our work, do we want that to overrule our whole lives? In the UK, 10 million working days a year are lost due to stress. These are 10 million working days people called in sick, and in research they told the researchers, well, actually it was due to my stress. We can gain years of our life this way. Years we can spend in a good and in a healthy way. It can be almost invisible. Stress keeps dripping and dripping and dripping, and at some point the glass is full. But when we do not empty that glass in time, it will become too much. We can end up like this, and not only employees, but also managers and CEOs, because once you have reached the top, who all is there you can still talk to? It is like the safety instructions on an airplane. Put on your own oxygen mask first before you help other people. In my opinion, it's the same within companies. Put on your own oxygen mask first before you lead other people. The stronger we are, the better we can lead. And then there's also a lot of pride and shame to show them when things are too much, that we cannot handle them. And then we just keep going on doing the things like we've always been doing them. People can hide stress very well. It looks so pretty from the outside, but what is really happening from the inside? We all go online on social media and we see all these happy and pretty faces. We all go online and get a lot of information overload, and how to deal with that? I do think that's a question for the future. Because everyone is different. You might be the person who likes to lead, or you're the person who likes to support. In this way, every person also can express stress in a different way. I like having interaction with my audience, so I want to do an exercise with you now. I want you to make 2 fists like this. And now, pull up your shoulders like this. Clench your teeth like this. And close your eyes very tight. If possible, lift up your knees a little bit. And now hold your breath. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it a little more longer. And now let it all go. Why do I do this exercise with you? In this exercise, we now have consciously felt the difference between stress and relaxation. Because these things you're doing, mostly a milder way, people who are stressed do this continuously. And that's not what is supposed to happen. Then ambition. The dictionary says that ambition is a strong desire to do or achieve something. Think about it. What is ambition for you? Some articles stated that ambition is also being seen as bossy. Bossy meaning being dominant to reach your goals, being mean to reach your goals. Well, ambition is definitely not the same as being bossy. In fact, with great ambition comes great responsibility. And how does that work? Usually when we have our first job, we live in one room, we have no car. Then we gain a few years of work experience. We might get a small house, a small car. We're doing better. We get promotion, we climb the ladder. We have an increase in financial status, which also means we have a risk increase, which also often means our status in society increases. People look at you differently. We have a bigger house, we have a bigger car. The result of that is more demands. We might want more cars on the longer term, more needs. We need more people who help us doing the work we are doing, more responsibility. We have to lead more, we have to manage more. A result of that is also that we will do our best to equate to our peers. We do not want to lose the position we have. We want to keep ahead of that competition. And when all of that is not balanced or managed well, it leads to anxiety, depression, stress, and when stress is too much, it can lead to a burnout. But this stress and pressure can also have a big effect on a relationship and lead to divorce, even neglecting children. And this all comes from research, so I'm not making this up. Time magazine did research on women and ambition. And they said that young women actually have different reasons than elder women that prevent them from being more ambitious. They said that 44% of women in their 20s said that fear of failing or lack of confidence were reasons for them that prevented them from being more ambitious. Compared to 22% of women in their late 40s and 50s who said that, and they gave personal priorities as reasons that prevented them from being more ambitious. They also said that 90% of women in their 20s felt pride or empowerment when they were publicly recognized for being ambitious, compared to 62% of women in their late 40s and 50s. Interestingly, in this group of late 40s and 50s, 28% of the women felt guilt, embarrassment, or shame. Well, there might be 2 reasons for that, and they didn't really know why, but they said there might be 2 reasons for that. First, women in their late 40s and 50s might see being ambitious as something very selfish. It will be selfish if I choose for myself and my career and do not give enough time to my family. Another thing is, the second one, that they feel that in my late 40s and 50s, I should have probably already reached all my ambitions. And if I'm still ambitious, that's quite embarrassing. But the actual reasons are not really known, so these are still guesses by the researchers. What they also said was, women without children are more likely to feel guilty that they are not ambitious enough. They're also less tolerant of lack of ambition. 51% said that it is not acceptable to not be ambitious, but also 48% of the moms said that. And that is quite a high percentage, so we should think about that, why women think that way. Then Harvard Business School, and I've only selected a small piece from a big research that they've done, said this. For women, far more than for men, the decision to pursue an interest is reconsidered repeatedly, and often abandoned. To realize their dreams, women need to understand why they are willing to walk away from them. So in this way, ambition only might not only create stress, but also the reconsidering repeatedly what your next step will be and why you are willing to walk away from actually saying yes. Because people tend to say, I am fine, I know what I'm doing, but are you really fine and do you know what you're doing? I recommend 3 things. The first is reflect. So do keep asking yourself those questions. Are you really fine? Do you know what you're doing? Why are you willing to walk away from a certain decision that you did not take? Then know your boundaries. I mean with that, figure out how much your body can handle, because only when you know that, you can find other ways to make your body stronger so you can handle more. And then have people who watch you. When people are very stressed, their ability to recognize how stressed they are goes down. So you need the other people around you who watch you and who can see how you're doing. And create a change of perspective. Oftentimes when things are becoming too much, it suddenly hits us. And then there's a big change of perspective, and only then we see that we're heading in a wrong direction. If people consciously for themselves from time to time create that change of perspective, then when things go wrong, it won't hit them as hard as it would before. The first thing is knowing how to do it, and then it's your task to actually start doing it. As last, nobody is normal. We all have our own problems, and we are not alone in this. You're not alone in this. And as the Dalai Lama said, happiness is not something that is just there. It's not something without doing anything. It depends on your own actions, your own happiness. So, live your life. Thank you.
Nobody is normal. Nobody is. I'm so happy to hear that from you. Nobody is normal.
Oh, even I was normal.